You're throwing money at Google, you're going to get instant visibility. You're going to show up top. But working on true sustainable SEO really is going to take more strategy, more consistency, and a little bit of patience.
Welcome back to Duo On Air. I'm Abby.
And I'm Courtney.
And we're the ex-agency turned entrepreneurial team that puts the Duo in Duo Collective. Our boutique organic marketing agency specializes in SEO, social media strategy, and branding.
We're an everyday pair of business besties / marketing experts obsessed with helping our community learn more about what it takes to run a business.
Which is why on Duo On Air, we're not holding anything back. We're giving you all the info we know about how to grow your business organically so you can be the confident CEO you were made to be.
And how to navigate life as a small business owner.
Whether it's on your own or with your best friend by your side, so grab your coffee
or your mimosa, we don't judge,
and settle in for a quick value-packed episode of Marketing Tips.
Welcome back to the Duo On Air podcast. This is episode number 162, and today we're going to answer one of the biggest questions that we get. How long does it take to get SEO results?
What's realistic?
Yeah, what's realistic? Everyone loves to ask this because we live in a world of instant gratification.
Instant, like so instant.
DoorDash, drive-thrus,
Amazon, overnight delivery.
Yeah,
like I
Google,
can't even believe that's a
Google
thing.
And getting an immediate answer.
Yeah, everything is instant.
It's instant.
I kind of wonder how our parents survived and our grandparents.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes I think about that, like when I'm on my phone and you can just when I'm Googling something just instantly.
Or I want coffee, but I don't want to go get it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make somebody bring it to me.
Yeah.
Bizarre. Our grandparents and parents are probably you are spoiled rotten. Everything's so easy for you.
I know, but it's also expensive. You know how much money I'd save? So
Man.
wow.
DoorDash
We're going to go down a rabbit hole.
I love,
deep.
but hate DoorDash.
Yeah, love-hate relationships.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways.
Love-hate. Okay.
SEO is not usually overnight
it's
quick.
not that instant gratification. But people love to ask this question because we want that. We want those rewards so that you are motivated to keep working on it, because most people are not like me where they really like to just do the SEO.
Yeah, a lot of people are not like you. Me being one of them.
Yeah, you need a little bit of the reward trail to keep you going.
Mm-hmm.
So
what is that saying? Something, what is it? Something worth or something, you know what I'm trying to say?
I don't.
No. Something worth, oh my gosh.
Okay, you find that, and then
I'm
we're
gonna Google
come
it.
back to it. Google it for instant gratification. And to be clear, we are talking about organic SEO here, not paid. Because paid is instant. And that's why a lot of people turn to it, is because you're throwing money at Google, you're going to get instant visibility. You're going to show up top. But working on true sustainable SEO really is going to take more strategy, more consistency, and a little bit of patience. So
there we go.
It's not just going to be like flipping a switch. You have to think of SEO as more of something like growing a garden. You need to plant the seeds, you need to nurture them, and then eventually you will start seeing some results.
You guys, she likes this analogy because your girl is a gardener.
I love it so much. And it has me sitting here thinking about the fact that I haven't started any of my winter seeds. And now I'm stressed.
Okay, well, oops. Okay, we're going to save that for after the episode.
Right, we'll talk about that later.
This might not be right, but in my brain it sounded right. If something is worth having, it's worth working for.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that saying.
Makes
You know what I
sense.
mean?
Yeah.
You want to have good SEO and you want it to be optimal.
Do you want to have a lot of people see you? Then
yes.
You gotta work for it.
You have to work for it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so that's what I meant.
I like it. Okay, we got
Thanks,
there.
Google. Google gave me that instant gratification.
We got there. I know.
We got there.
So let's talk about how long it really takes. Give you guys some examples, because some people do see growth right away. And some people, it takes longer. And why? Why is that? Why do some people see instant growth when they make a couple updates? And why do other people feel like they have to create blog after blog after blog to get some traction? So, and know that, people, our clients specifically, fall all over the board in this.
Literally all over.
Yeah, some people are quick, some people take longer, and we're going to share a few examples for you. So let's really answer that big question.
How long does SEO really take?
It depends.
That's the worst answer.
Do you hate me? Sorry.
I
it really
always
does.
internally smile a little bit when we're on inquiry calls and people are like, okay. And some people are very like realistic about it. Some people are like, okay, I know that this probably isn't really a fair question, or like this question is going to vary, but how long does it take? And then I think some people are just like, okay, so like when can I expect results? And
Yeah.
you're like, okay, well,
Yeah, right?
It depends.
It depends. Here's
Mhm.
what we look for in growth.
yes.
And it's a little bit different for everyone. So really, we're going to walk through, like I said, all of the different kind of phases of people who see fast growth and people who don't. And really, kind of the speed of the success depends on how much Google already trusts your website. So it's going to be based on a few different things. So let's just dive into it.
Did you pause it?
No.
Oh, jeez.
Pause, Glenn, cut this part out.
Okay, right here?
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, start over.
Okay. Okay. What quick SEO success looks like? 2 to 4 weeks?
Yes, so I would say really quick SEO success is not 24 hours. It is going to take 2 to 4 weeks. That is quick in the SEO world. So in our experience, most people who have seen success within 2 to 4 weeks already have some sort of a solid SEO foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So their business is usually already going to have a domain authority of double digits, something like 10 or higher. So this means that Google already trusts them a little bit. There's some foundation there. They likely already have a blog and they have presence and they have content that Google already knows about that already gets some traffic. And they already might have done a few SEO things, maybe not everything, but they've already done a little bit of something before maybe we've jumped in and made even bigger updates. So think of it a little bit like dating. Probably because, Love is Blind is out right now and we're all binging it.
We're
so.
obsessed.
And let me tell you, I'm not a reality TV girl. The only reason I'm watching it is because it's Minnesota, and I gotta support my hometown.
I got Abby sucked in. I was like, you have to watch this season because it's Minnesota. So
I know I'm not. I'm more of like a, I'm more of a not real.
she's a
life.
Like fiction. Is that fiction? I
I
always
don't
get
know.
so confused on that. Fiction
Yeah.
or non-fiction?
Fiction. I think fiction.
I think it's fiction.
It's fiction. Yeah.
But yes, I like this analogy. So please keep going.
Right?
Love is blind.
So let's think of it like dating. If you're going on a blind date with someone that you've never met before, there's zero trust. You have to start over completely from scratch, right? You're just starting to meet them and you don't know what's true and what's not yet. Like there's no trust built yet. There's no foundation. But if you are going on a date and reconnecting with an old friend that maybe you knew in high school or college or something, then there's already going to be a level of familiarity there and trust. You might not trust them completely because they haven't been around for a while, but you have some basis to go off of.
Mm-hmm.
Google is going to work the same way. So it's more likely to boost and show support to a website that it already kind of knows versus one that it's never heard of before.
I love it. Perfect little analogy.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about a few examples because we've had a couple clients who have seen some really quick success. So first, we've talked about her website before, My Household Managed. We had worked with her a while back to optimize her entire website. And since then, she came back to us last year and she had a new location that she was growing in. And so now we needed to rethink overall like her user experience and strategy and then help her show up for a new location. So for her, we already had the foundation. Google already knew about her. The foundation was working. She was getting really good traffic. We just needed to show her up in a new location. And so once we made those optimizations, indexed and created some new pages on her website, she was showing up pretty quickly. I would say within that 2 to 4 week time frame, that new location page was showing up on the first page of Google. So that is what we'd see as really quick success, but she was a consistent blogger. We already had a really solid foundation. The keywords were working. She was getting traffic. And because of that, we saw really quick success. So that should be reassuring because if you are consistently creating content or if you are working on your SEO, just know that it's going to get easier. It's going to get easier to show up for more things over time once you've had that trust and foundation built. So another client, we have been helping the Jenna Kutcher team with some of their content, and we've really been focused on optimizing old content because there is a wealth of knowledge on her blog and on her website. And so we've been focusing on optimizing content that is 3 to 4 years old. Content that really is great content that doesn't currently get traffic. And we updated a handful of blogs, and within 2 days, the content was already driving traffic and showing up for some of the targeted keywords on page 1. So that's something that is insanely fast. But again, she has that foundation. She consistently shows up. There's a layer of trust built there, and because of that, you can see some really quick success with SEO.
That's incredible. It's really cool. And it's just like sometimes it's taking a peek at old blog posts and refreshing that content.
Too.
And
oh wow, that was way easier than,
trying to create something new.
Piece of content.
Exactly. Okay, so what's quote unquote normal SEO success?
So normal, I'd say, would fall into a 4 to 6 month period. And this is almost every business that we work with, almost every client that we work with falls into this normal track of SEO success. So we do, with every client we work with, we always do a 4 to 6 month check-in for this exact reason, because it typically takes 4 to 6 months to start seeing things evolve. So this typically happens if you're a new website and you don't have a ton of existing content. So again, we don't have that trust yet, but we have to build it. You're competing in maybe like a moderately competitive industry, so Google needs a little bit more signals to trust you. So imagine if you're aiming for a page 1 for a keyword where a bunch of websites on that page have been around for a long time. They have really good authority already. If all of that already exists, then it's going to be a little bit harder for you to crawl your way to that page. We just need to spend more time with Google. And also, if you just started working on your SEO, if it's brand new, again, even if your website's not new, but your SEO strategy is new, Google might not have known about you even if your website's been out there because you just started working on it. So it's still going to take that layer of trust to crawl your way up. So
in that time frame, then, what does that success look like?
So you can kind of expect during this time frame, like what we always like to track our success in 4 different metrics. So we look at keywords, we look at organic search traffic, we look at your domain authority, and then sometimes we'll look at backlinks if we're focused on that. So it kind of looks like what success looks like during this time is that Google actually indexed your pages. So more of your content is known by Google, and therefore more keywords are indexed. The more keywords you get indexed on your website, the more opportunities you have to show up. So I always explain it like a file cabinet, is every folder is a keyword. And the more folders you have, the more opportunities you have for someone to pull you out versus someone else. So you do want a lot of keywords indexed, but you also want to make sure those keywords make sense for your business and that Google actually relates those keywords back to your overall industry expertise. So it can look like that. It can look like some of your blogs and pages ranking on page 1, 2, 3. Sometimes we're in a really competitive niche, so we might be on page 9, and all of a sudden in 4 to 6 months we jump to page 3. I know it's not page 1, but that's still awesome.
You've still really grown within the search rankings.
It just means that you need more time to continue building that trust and authority with Google, but jumping that far is awesome. So you might see a page jump, but you might not necessarily see a traffic jump yet because you went from page 9 to page 3, but still page 3 isn't searched as often as page 1. So it's progress.
That's a good thing to point out. Just because you're getting higher on the page results doesn't necessarily mean more traffic, because again, we know that traffic is usually that first page or 2.
Yep. Yeah. So typically it can feel slow, but watching for markers like that, even if you're just looking at traffic, you're not getting the whole picture. So we need to look beyond just the traffic, and we need to look at other things. Are we moving up pages? Are more keywords being known by Google? Is more content getting indexed? Like, all of those are good signs that you're moving in the right direction.
So I have a quick question, because you said it's not just looking at one thing, it's looking at everything kind of collectively, or like specific things. So people like specifically in the Instagram world or social in general, a lot of people get hung up on vanity metrics. Are there such things as vanity metrics for SEO that some people tend to gravitate towards or go after, but that's really not the big piece that they should be focused on?
I would say the vanity metric in the SEO world is the position that you're in versus the whole, it's like position tracking. So when people are like, oh, I am sitting number 4 for wedding planners in this city, I want to be position 1. And it's like, okay, like, sure, you can like tweak around that page, but is that really going to do a lot for you moving up 1 to 4, maybe a little bit? I'd rather you focus broader. Like, yes, that's great, but how can we continue to create quality content on the rest of our website to drive more traffic to it, rather than just fighting over these like
number
little
1 positions or something. Okay, that makes sense.
So most of our clients fall into this example of seeing normal SEO growth within 4 to 6 months. So here's a couple that have seen like a few examples, just like we gave you before. So M Creative J is a client who sells hand embroidery kits. We noticed during her audit a couple of different things. So we noticed that her shop was actually living on a different domain, and it was owned by Shopify. So she didn't actually own her shop. So we changed that to be a subdomain. So it would say shop.mcreativej.com. That's what a subdomain is. It comes before your .com, basically, rather than after. So by doing that, we were able to make sure all the authority she got under her shop and her homepage all existed under one domain. So that was a really important move, but because of that, we were kind of like shifting so much content. So it did take a little bit longer to get all of that stuff indexed and have Google understand it's all one. It's not just Shopify. Because we want to give you the credit. You're working hard, right? Not Shopify.
Exactly.
So we also noticed that she was showing up on page 1 for her kits, but like I said before, vanity metrics of like, okay, we're showing up on page 1, that's a win. Like, yes, obviously we want to be position 1, but at the end of the day, we're already on page 1. Where are some other opportunities that we can improve too? And we looked at some other unique collections, and we were able to rank for some of her specific collection pages by focusing on those too. So it was, again, focusing on the overall quality rather than just fighting for those positions that were happening on page 1. And then another example, Lindsay is a photographer that we worked with. She already had really amazing presence with a lot of her blogs and portfolios, specifically for Notre Dame, like a period high for that college. So we wanted her to rank higher for her specific offerings and locations. So by optimizing her website within 4 to 6 months and all of that hard work we did on her core pages, she was then in position 1 for her keyword for location plus photographer. So that was awesome to see. And again, she did have some of that base there. Both of these clients did. They had some SEO base. They had traffic. They had trust. They had blogs. And by focusing on a very specific keyword strategy, we were able to do better with the overall quality of the website. It took a normal amount of time to see that content start to work. And then as you continue to create content, build that trust, you see it continue to grow. And then eventually you get such a good foundation that, like we talked about before, that you see that growth really fast because you've already built that trust. So consistency truly matters.
So those were some of the kind of like quote unquote normal cases. Next, we're going to be diving into why some SEO strategies can take like 6+ months. So there are a few reasons why some of these businesses, the SEO process takes a little bit longer. And that first one is that you're recovering from bad SEO, which is really unfortunate. But basically, you broke Google's trust.
Yeah. It's a bummer because there's a lot of people who don't do this. It's not their fault. they hired an agency, they had a partner, they hired someone they didn't know well enough, and they did some shoddy strategies. And because of that, you're paying the penalties, or you have to work harder to get Google's trust back.
Which is really unfortunate. And we see this sometimes.
I was going to keep with the dating analogy, and then I was like, this is basically like cheating on your partner.
It kind of is.
It is. So it's going to take a lot of trust and depending on like how bad you cheated, I don't know. We don't need to go there.
Whoa.
Then it might take even longer to get trust back, right?
or
how long you've been cheating. I mean, this analogy really works.
Man, next time, okay, for the rest of the season now, all the podcast episodes I'm going to outline based on
You're welcome.
Season.
Ooh,
Love
this is a
Blind.
little like subliminal messaging. Every time you're watching Love is Blind now, you're going to be like, SEO, don't cheat on Google.
Yeah, I am. Seriously. Oh, man.
I love it. Okay, I'm going to see how else I can do that in the future of all SEO podcasts to help this just burn into your memory.
That's amazing.
So anyway, some like bad strategies could be black hat strategies is what they're called. So if you ever see anything like black hat, don't do it. White hat is what you want to look for. Like white hat means good, authentic. Black hat means not good, not authentic.
Witchy.
Yeah, witchy. So things like keyword stuffing, buying backlinks, creating spammy content, like just writing page on page on page, like endless amounts of content just to fit in words without actually thinking through the structure. Like
if it feels ish or seems ish, it probably is.
Especially most people say like, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was. Like I knew this person was creating blogs for me and something felt weird, but I didn't know. I just assumed they knew what they were doing. They were the expert. If it feels wrong, it's probably wrong, to be honest.
And unfortunately, there's people out there that are gonna say they can do things and they do them the wrong way.
And there's a lot of people out there, like, okay, it still works sometimes. And that's the reason why people still do it.
Yeah.
People still do this because these strategies do sometimes still work because search engines they're not perfect.
Mm-mm.
Like their algorithms are still being tweaked and still being updated. So it's not that these strategies don't work. They do sometimes. But if you get caught, then you're paying the penalty for it for a lot longer and it takes it a lot more time for you to fix.
Mm-hmm.
So in my opinion, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. No.
Start
right. Like, do it right the first time.
You're not going to pick up a get out of jail free card and walk away.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
all these analogies.
I know. I love it. I'm just working on the analogies here.
So the second one that you talked about, or the second one that we're going to talk about here, you kind of briefly touched on too. Like you might be in an industry that is extremely competitive.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
Mm-hmm. And usually I will tell people that too, like at the beginning. Sometimes we find it out throughout the process of like, hey, it is really competitive. Like we need to do even more to increase your like authority. And in order to do that, it might be different things like getting backlinks might need to be a priority, or creating richer content, creating content more often. Like it just really depends on your industry, the competition, what those keywords are. Are there other keywords that are related to that we can go after instead?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things. Like I get this question all the time for web designers because web design is a really saturated, competitive niche. So it's starting to figure out like what other things do you offer that we could help get people's eyes on the right thing, because it might be really hard for someone to find you just for website designer.
Mm-hmm.
Can we specialize in a specific platform? Can you specialize in Showit, Squarespace, Shopify? Then can you niche down even more? Can you specialize in Showit web design for photographers? Or, I'm not saying you have to, but from an SEO perspective, sometimes that can really help you. Other times, you might need to think about like, what else is your audience searching for? How can I capture those people?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where your blog content comes in. So it's creating content that can also perform really well. So for us, like we have some blogs that don't talk about our services at all. And we've talked about these before, where if we want to work with more local businesses, we can create a blog around the best coffee shops to go work at as an entrepreneur. Like, that's great because now we're showcasing local coffee shops. Other entrepreneurs are searching for that and good ones to work at that maybe A, have food and B, have good bathrooms. I don't know. Like
enough outlets.
outlets.
That's
Yeah.
my
Do they
struggle.
allow pets? Do you want to work with your dog? Like whatever it may be. And we can show up for that. They might not be looking for SEO or branding at the moment, but now they're in our universe. So
And you never know.
Yeah.
Or they might have somebody that they know, or
Yeah.
that they know that they know. Like, it's just, it's powerful.
It is. So sometimes in these extremely competitive niches, we're not focused on the core pages because, hey, we index for it. We're on page 5 or whatever. It's so competitive. It's going to be so hard to crawl up that page. So rather than focusing on the core pages, we're focusing on additional content. And that strategy is what's going to help you perform better. So, so a few examples, and actually I have one example here for you, because I don't have a ton of clients that fall into this section because most of my clients like don't have a ton of issues with bad spammy tactics. We have a handful of them, but they're not like they caught it early enough. They're not like on the naughty list, so to speak.
Yeah.
But there are, I love myself a good challenge. So it's fun. Like, I love challenging situations because that's where I can like put on my detective hat and be like, how can we get you out of jail? Like, let's do it. Prison Break was a favorite show of mine.
There we go.
So Allison Carter Celebrates is a business friend of ours. She's also a client of ours. She was one of the hosts of UPP, which if you've been here a while, you know we spoke at for a few years. And awesome conference, and the two ladies that run that are amazing. But Allison has her own business, and she made a shift in the last few years. She completely altered her business, but she didn't change her domain. And I think she realized, like in hindsight, she probably should have changed her domain, but at the time she just didn't. So we had to figure out, okay, what are we going to do? And it's not like her businesses weren't completely, absolutely different, but they definitely are targeting two different people. So her old business was party planning and helping you create like the best Pinterest-worthy parties as a mom. And her new business is how to be like specializing in building your personal brand and business coaching. There are some overlaps, of course. There are plenty of moms who are, getting into their own business and like, hello, it's us.
Yes.
So it makes sense. But one of her best performing blogs was Elf on the Shelf Ideas. That's not doing anything like for her business. And so she had tons and tons of traffic, but for all the wrong reasons, and it wasn't helping her business grow. So she is one of my only clients who I told her at the beginning, your SEO is going to look worse. Like, it's actually going to look worse than when we started. But it's a good thing because none of that content was doing anything for her anyways.
Right.
And we want her to get known for the things that she offers now. And so even if it does look like she's getting less traffic, she's getting the right traffic. So we actually had to very strategically remove a lot of content, unindex a lot of pages. And throughout that whole process, yes, her search dropped. But most of the time you'll see search drop, and then you'll also see domain authority drop, which is that marker of trust with Google. For her, we never lost any domain authority.
That's incredible.
It remained the same the whole time, which is awesome.
That is awesome.
That's what you need.
Yes.
So you need to make sure that you remain in that authority, but you can shift the story and you can tell Google something different. So that was really huge for her, and being able to now get traffic for keywords and things that she actually offers and reach the right audience is huge.
So if somebody is listening to this right now and they're wondering, why isn't my SEO working yet? What would you say to them?
I would say just don't stress about it. Like, if you are doing the right things, just remember it's a long game, and you will likely fall into one of these categories. So hopefully, as you were listening through these examples, you might be able to kind of put yourself in a category of like, I know I'm super competitive. Like, I'm definitely in the 6 month or harder. I gotta just like buckle down and keep doing it and be consistent. Or you have that foundation, but you just haven't focused on it. So maybe you're gonna have quick success. Like, I don't know. Sometimes that happens. So it's definitely a game worth playing though. Like, play that long game, because the businesses that show up consistently and are smart about the content that they create, and if you really trust the process, you're going to see the biggest results, and those results are going to, what's the word? They're going to like double down.
Oh no, do I have to Google something again?
No, don't Google anything. Those results are going to like compound. There we go.
There you go.
They're going to compound over time.
And I think too, it's just setting that foundation. Once you start and you get that solid foundation set, then it just gets easier and easier.
It does. It truly does get easier and easier. So just so you know, you can't, like, listening to this, there are areas where you might, and this happens with a lot of our clients and a lot of our coaching students for sure, is there are areas where you might have hit your wall. But you can absolutely DIY your way to success and build this solid foundation. So regardless of the phase, like if you haven't done this yet, you can do that. That is absolutely a thing to do, and that's what we teach in SEO on Tap. And we'll include that in the show notes so that you can see it. But it's a great place to start if you haven't done anything. And sometimes even the most ambitious DIYers and students in our course, they hit a wall and they get tapped out, or they feel stuck, or they just hit this point of their strategy where they're just not sure what to do anymore. And that's where coaching has really been a game changer for these clients, because we take a deeper look at that strategy. Like, what's really happening and how can we really turn things around for you and start seeing upward progression rather than just this like solid static line.
And I think too, sometimes we're so in our own businesses that you can DIY the crap out of it, but then like when you do hit that wall, it's because sometimes you're too close and you need somebody else. I mean, obviously an expert like Abby to come in and peek at it, but she's not as close to your business as you are, right? And so she can look at it from a new lens and a different perspective, and as the expert, and really help you to build on that strategy.
Yeah. And if there is one really big key takeaway that we want you to remember today, it's that the businesses that started sooner have an easier time ranking than those who wait. So stop waiting. Start doing something, literally anything, to build that trust, because that trust is going to give you the momentum you need to have some really solid SEO growth. So if you are ready to take action, we did just recently host a live training all about 5 ways to gain visibility and get found online. And the replay is all ready for you, waiting for you to watch right now. So you can go over to that if you haven't already. It's at duocollective.com/getfound. And we would love for you to take those strategies and start taking action so that you can really see that consistency come to life and start watching that momentum, because that's what makes you want to keep going to the gym, right? Keep working out your business.
Yeah, get found.
If you like this episode, please be sure to share it with a friend and subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes dropping every Monday. Plus, if you haven't already, please go ahead and leave us a review, and don't hesitate to share any new episode ideas. We absolutely love hearing from you and creating this content for you. See you next week.